Um, you're good. Oh,
All right,
go
so
ahead.
so when Flavius asked the question, is it precedence that you had to have a hard upbringing to be a rapper? You know, I think that when the art form like went mainstream, the message, that's what the song was about. It was about a struggle. So
Yes.
everybody thereafter was like, well, that's what did it. So we got to do that to be heard. And I think that's where the whole theory that you have to have a hard struggle to become a rapper or to be a rapper, to be a validated rapper, your life had to be hard, your upbringing had to be hard.
That's a dope point.
Because that's
Yes.
how the genre started in the first
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, with
Well,
Grandmaster.
not started for sure, but definitely was jettisoned from that point.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I think that probably became the most. I would think that maybe have become like the most influential rap song of all time, and that is a really good.
What song are
mess-
you talking about?
The message.
The message.
The message
Oh.
by Grandmaster
Broken
Flav.
glass everywhere.
Yep. Yeah.
People just don't care.
Yes. And yeah, and that's where it came from, and I think it really has become. I feel that it seems to have become like that's been like a mark of authenticity. It's like that's where people wear that as a badge of authenticity. Like you had to grow up and excuse me, I just mixed grow and struggle. You have to struggle and like
Stroke.
grow up with hardships. And so there's anyone who tries to make it in there as an interloper or who grew up comfortably and tries to make it as an interloper, it like could be seen as like just like playing in somebody else's sandbox.
Yeah.
At the same time,
and I think hold on.
Sorry, I didn't.
Sorry. And I think that, so I think, but because it is an art form, I think that eventually people with talent, if you're really talented, I think eventually you can make it. But I think that, well, actually not everybody with talent does, but I think that if you're truly talented, like if you get the right marketing, it becomes noticeable. But I think what's unfortunate with the whole Iggy Azalea thing, I'm not Nicki Minaj or Azalea Banks, so I can't speak for them. But I think it was, I think it was a little unfortunate that they came so hard for her. Not that, I know they have their reasons, but as women rappers, they already know that they had it extra hard. And that a lot of the stuff that they were throwing at her was also being thrown at them by the male dominated industry, and that kept them off the covers of magazines for years longer than they should have been. So
yeah, I don't think there was that camaraderie for a white.
No, there wasn't.
For a white interloper, and I don't know that they're.
I agree with you, and I think that a lot of the I think that a lot of the popular female rappers lately.
Sorry, one sec. I gotta grab my food. 1 sec.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I'll wait.
Anyways.
All right.
Anyways.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say.
Yes.
What I was gonna say. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
okay.
What I was gonna say is that this whole thing brings up the entire issue of, well, who gets to define like who an interloper is or what privilege is, because people who grew up with quote unquote privilege may have had other struggles, like, God forbid, like, what if they were like LGBT and like in a family of conservative Christians, like, no
Sure.
pun intended, God forbid, or
Sure.
like mental health issues. There's things like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's like, you know, I feel blessed to, I'm aware of the fact that I have, like, ostensibly white upper middle class privilege based on my upbringing, but
Yeah.
at the same, and I don't like taking that for granted, but at the same time, like, that doesn't necessarily mean that everything's been like roses and flowers for me either.
Of course. And I think that, one of the things that I think people who have problems with this concept of white privilege are not willing to, are like, have difficulty accepting, despite the fact that it's been said numerous times by people who are like, by people who are constantly trying to explain why white privilege exists, is that just because you have white, no one is saying that you're having white privilege has made your life easy. It doesn't mean that you having white privilege means that you've never had to struggle or that nothing ever bad has ever happened to you.
Well, and I think I agree with that, but a lot of white people get that's
Yeah, they seem
they
to
get
think
offended.
that, yes, they seem to think that people are saying that if you have white privilege, you've never had to struggle, you've never had anything bad happen to you. And everyone who is, and people who argue, I've never heard anybody who acknowledging the white privilege is real say, oh, white people have never had anything bad happen to them or have never had to struggle or anything like that. I've never heard that. So
Well, no, and I don't think so.
it's
I
not
don't think so either. But but I think where the mistake comes in hand is that people make is that, like, somebody like myself, like, I don't have any, like, to the eye, I have privilege, you know what I mean? Like, because, like, it's what people say about, like, invisible, like, people talking about, like, invisible disabilities. Like,
right.
like, you know, like, just because, like, I look like I may look like, based on my skin color, that I'm somebody who comes from privilege, but I feel like, you know, like, and I can understand why people would think that I was privileged by looking at me, but it's like, that didn't stop me from having, like, as many mental health struggles as I've had in my lifetime, you know? Like,
Yeah.
and that's something that, like, I think people need to take into account when deciding who's privileged and who's had a hard life and who hasn't, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, the only other thing I will say about that is that I do think that sometimes people who, when we're talking about white privilege and when trying to force people to recognize that they do have white privilege, I do feel that there are some people who do take that diagnosis too far and say, like check your privilege, and like an implicit assumption. There's sometimes an implicit assumption that there are certain people who actually will be like, well, if you have white privilege, like, you need to be quiet now because your struggles are less important, and that they have no, and that nothing, and so therefore, like, nothing bad. Like, it's almost like this, like, in that there are a few people who I think will actually use that in a way to, who are, and these are unfortunately the people who do it a disservice, because they will, in my opinion, based on some conversations I've had, will actually say that actually this does mean that your struggles are comparatively, you haven't had really that bad of a struggle. And so I feel like, yeah.
I saw that happen today and kind of came to a friend's defense and made fun of, I think friends or family that he hadn't spoken to in a while, who were doing the check your privilege thing to him. And it's kind of like, Yeah, that statement is definitely used in a way that's like, it's kind of hard to hear that in a way that's doesn't sound very aggressive. You know,
I think the term white privilege is overdefined.
It certainly could be. I mean, it might be overused sometimes. Or certainly, the phrase "check your privilege" is just kind of a very
I
aggressive
think it's just like
phrase.
unnecessary.
Yeah, it's just often
Like
used in a way that's like unnecessary.
my,
Yeah.
my my understanding of white privilege is this: we all have the same struggles because we're all human. We just don't all have the same options.
That's a good way of putting it. Like,
And that's what I look at it as.
Yeah, or obstacles. You know, it's like, hey, you may have grown up poor. Like usually it happens. Usually it's like someone who grew up with a lot of struggle or a lot of trauma or like poverty or something like that. If they hear you say something about privilege, they'll go nuts because they'll be like, privilege? What are you talking about? I grew up with this, and
Yeah,
this, and it's like
exactly.
not understanding that like whatever you went through, it wasn't because of your skin color on top of it, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Truth be told, at this point, I don't even think it's honestly, to a certain extent, I don't even necessarily think it's true anymore that everybody doesn't have the same options in a certain way, because I think that there's been great strides made along those lines too. I think that any vestiges of racial privilege that exist simply exist because of the systemic racism that was built into certain institutions that this country still has. I think that once those are cleared out, there won't be any more. Because I actually don't think, I think that there are very,
Absolutely.
I think that there are
I think
not
that's
that
what
many
he meant by options, though.
Okay. Is
Like,
it?
it's just,
Wait, no, let me.
that's the way I
let,
interpreted it.
no, finish what you were saying, Sam.
Okay. Because no, that's not what I mean. I don't mean, no, options, because I feel like we have different options, but I don't know. That's not what I meant. I meant like in terms of like policing and things along those lines. I feel like there are very few areas that are less open, that are outside of like exclusive country clubs. But I mean, even those policies have been like I would imagine of all but like a very few have been updated. So I feel like there are very few areas of life where that is a barrier to success anymore.
But what I was saying is that I feel like, and maybe I misinterpreted what KD said, but I felt like that, like he meant that when he said options, he meant like systemic racism, like the whole concept of like, to give you an analogy, like because of the coronavirus, Major League Baseball instituted a rule that to get games done sooner, they instituted a rule that if they're in extra innings, they start with a runner on second base, just plop a runner on second base to make it easier for somebody to score. Like that's, I think, that's the way I interpreted the meaning of options, like that some people based on skin color are
Well,
like
yeah,
that
is the
runner
options
immediately
are
put on second base.
right. It's preset. So whereas quote unquote white privilege, there's no presets for it.
Well, and I think too, the thing is like, it's bothersome. I mean, I have to I have to respectfully disagree with you, Sam, that the options are there, because I feel like that the options are there in name, but in practice, they're not, if that makes any sense.
No, I know what you're getting at.
I would like to, yeah, I would like to definitely disagree with that as well. I think there's still lots of places where your skin color alone will affect your options, whether it's like getting certain jobs, seeing homes in certain neighborhoods, just the way like you're greeted to the neighborhood, like when people like all of a sudden call the police on you because you're trying to see a home and they assume you're trying to break in or that kind of thing.
Or how you're treated in a store, even. Like, I don't get followed around, like, in a store if
Or
I'm
like,
alone.
or
But
like
when
some of
I'm
the
with
issues
specific people, I
examples.
do. What did you say?
Right, yeah, like what you're saying, or issues examples, like how they're treating him at the car place,
Yeah.
when he's like trying to get a car and whatnot.
Or Misha with the guidance counselor.
Yeah, I feel like there's tons of those examples still, and we're not close to like living in a society where, skin color doesn't limit your options. I feel
It's
like
not
it's
only that, though. The fact of the matter is that while nominally, like, on paper, sure, there's nothing stopping a black person from going to Princeton. I mean, look at Michelle Obama. But I think, like, there's nothing on paper stopping, like, a black person from doing whatever they want to do with their lives. But there is, like, that idea of, like, people being born on second base versus being at bat. Like, and as
I
far
don't
as, like,
disagree with that.
as far
You
as,
know,
like,
it also doesn't need to be on paper. You can just have a gatekeeper, the person doing interviews and whatnot. I mean, not specifically at Princeton, but just like in general, like at certain jobs or like,
even certain subcultures. For instance, if you're a part of a, let's say, like a rave dance group, and just for instance, and the gatekeepers don't like something about you, then you're out. You're shit out of luck.
Yeah,
Or,
but
like,
then
getting
don't you
into
think that person should be but shouldn't that person be, that's what I mean though. Weren't laws put in place to prevent that sort of thing from happening? I mean, they don't always work. And I think, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut anybody off. Please continue and then I'll go finish my thought.
well,
No.
Laws, I think are hard to
Implement.
not only implement, but hard to enforce.
Yeah.
And then,
Yes.
a lot of laws just simply, also aren't there.
Exacerbate the problem.
Or a lot of laws simply haven't been implemented.
and oftentimes, like, in the case of employers, like, how the other day I was talking about how in the school system, like, they try their damnedest to get rid of teachers who have been there too long, so they
tenured
don't
teachers.
so they don't have to pay them. Like,
Yeah.
part of, like, they know, like, a lot of what goes on as well with teachers is, like, they know that, like, they know they can't discriminate against somebody, like, for a disability or for anything that's in a protected class. So if they want to get rid of somebody, so, like, somebody may, like, say, for example, be, like, internally or implicitly prejudiced against somebody, but they're not going to use that as, they're going to find a loophole, they're going to find another reason to fire them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, technically you can't fire somebody for, like, being black or having red hair or being disabled or being gay, etc., so on and so forth. But if people want to get rid of you, like, they'll find something else to nitpick at to use as the official reason is the thing.
Yes.
Yeah, your attitude may become more ornery than everyone else's, or if you try to stand up for yourself or something.
No, you're totally right. You're totally right. Yeah.
Or, like, for example, like, they could, like, part of the reason, like they could say you take too many days off, like, and we need somebody who's gonna be there for the kids. Like, if you're taking too many days, if you're taking a lot of days off for a medical condition, like they never explicitly said we're firing you because of your medical condition, but they could fire you for like whatever for something they deem to be a consequence of your medical condition, I guess. Without
And a lot of
saying
times, I feel like it's promotions. Like even at a place that we all used to work at, which I'm not going to name, you know, there was never like a black supervisor. I mean, there was like, I remember there was like one person of color like way back in the day that we all knew. But besides that, there were no like people of color or black supervisors in like the most diverse city in the world, where there was like plenty of talent, you know?
Although weren't you considered a supervisor?
No, I was a director
Oh,
for 5 years. Yeah.
You're talking like
Supervisors above a director.
You're talking above what you were.
Yeah.
So above you and above the other person that we know well.
So I guess the question is, so having established that there are ways to get around these anti-discrimination laws simply on basis of personal bias, where you can, and which we know, you can just pretend that it's something else. The question is, how does one remedy this?
Well, I think
it kind of like change the culture.
It takes awareness that these biases exist.
Yeah.
Like, I think to speak from my perspective on it, like, it's a major problem in the schools as well. Like, it's a systemic, like, it's the same systemic problem that's in jobs that's in the schools. Like, say, for example, like, I've worked in places where, like, in customer service jobs, like, it didn't really matter because I personally could do the job. I would get promoted over like a black woman, for example. And I think it was never said, but it was kind of implied that they thought I would be better with the customers. You know what I mean? Like that they, like, a lot of times, like with the whole, like, and it happens in schools too, like black girls get disciplined so much more for quote unquote catching an attitude than white girls do. And I mean, like,
because they seem older, they look and seem older, and so
but here's the thing too, is that something that I've noticed, yes, they look and seem older, but like a big thing I noticed, like, is that, like, people take umbrage to, like, a black girl, like, rolling their eyes and sucking their teeth a lot more than they take umbrage to a white girl doing it. And I think it's a matter of, like, teachers feeling, like, that kind of goes hand in hand with what you're saying. Like, teachers discipline the black student more harshly because they feel more threatened, maybe, because of implicit bias.
Yeah.
But, like, it is, and it's, I'll tell you this much, it's friggin' maddening that school districts have tried to institute, like, different, like, diversity trainings, and they backfire, and then, like, for teachers, and they backfire and fall flat on their butt because because it all hinges on specific teachers being willing and able to admit that they have white privilege, which in some of their cases, it's like, you know, you're going to be waiting till the cows to come home for some of these people to admit it. But
but when you take a training, like, doesn't some of that like sink in, or at least get implemented, like, regardless of if you personally admit to any bias?
Well, here's the thing, different procedures get implemented, but especially in education, there's like the older teachers that they don't fire. Like there is a phenomenon of like older teachers being like ridiculously stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
Like what I've like as an educator, I've run into often, I'll tell you, I've run into I've people trying to like teachers trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
Yeah.
Like I've run into like white teachers who live in like who commute in from Westchester or Long Island, like who live like in places where I had canvassed ostensibly, and they would literally like they would have it's almost like they couldn't read the room
Yeah.
of who they were actually teaching. Like
Sure.
like a big example is when I taught middle school, the school, like it was technically a uniform school, like where the kids had to wear a school shirt and their pants had to be like black or khaki, like they weren't allowed to wear jeans. And personally, to me, I was just happy that they got there and that they had pants on.
Yeah.
Quite frankly. But like some of the teachers would like discipline and give students detentions for wearing jeans, or like if a kid brought in a note saying that like they'll assume it was the kid, that the kid had forged the note from a parent. And honestly, that's one of those things where I would rather err on the side of caution, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you never want to accuse someone of doing something they haven't done.
Well, there's that, and also what's a problem is that these kids would get reprimanded and punished because like these teachers would just be like, because these teachers would be like, oh, they're probably lying, why are they having so many problems with laundry, why can't they just wash their clothes, what's so difficult about that? And I was more likely to be sympathetic to students who came in saying like, sorry, I had to wear jeans because the washing machine is broken, because at that time, like my current apartment building was constantly having the elevator go out.
Yeah, I mean, shouldn't you have to contact parents before
Yeah.
making that assumption?
Well, I would always call to double check, like if a kid
Yeah, it
brought
seems
in
like
a
those
note.
teachers should be like automatically considered wrong for just assuming.
Well, there should be considered wrong for just assuming. Like if a kid said that to me, I would just call and check usually. But like,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
you know, they go home to their homes in Westchester where they never have these problems.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like I was going weeks without being able to do laundry because the elevator was out for 6 friggin' months in my building. Like I understood a little bit better where the issues were coming from.
Sure.
But basically, I think that it's like, and then there was another one where we were trying to plan a field trip, and one of the other teachers said, thinking he was being funny, said, well, why don't we see if we can talk to a corrections officer and get a field trip to a prison so these kids could see what their future would be like? And
Oh, Jesus.
they legit thought they were making a joke. And I was in a really big rock and a hard place because, like, at that time, I didn't realize that at that time, I wasn't being treated crappily at that school yet. And
Yeah.
I didn't, and I was planning on, like, trying to get tenure. And I didn't want to say, you know, something that would rock the boat.
Right.
So, or get in trouble because this was a teacher who at the time was a favorite of the administration, so I was afraid to speak up. But I was like, what the, that was totally inappropriate.
Mhm.
Or like, for example, like some of those same teachers, they made, I think I told this story before, like they made a list of kids who were allowed to come up to do special chores during lunchtime,
Mhm.
to help teachers during lunchtime. They made a list of kids who deserved to be helpers and who shouldn't be allowed to come up based on quote unquote behavior. And the list of quote unquote well behaved was like a lot of like the Albanian and Bengali kids,
Yeah.
and the poorly behaved kids, quote unquote, were Black and Latinx. And I feel like that, and I was just like, what the hell are we doing here? And I feel like that, like, that's one of those things that has to be changed before, like, before we can really attack this issue of options for all people. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if the discrimination is starting like as far back as like middle school and elementary school, like, how can we expect those kids to get to it? Well, no one's saying you can't apply to Princeton because you're Black. How do we expect those kids to get there if we're throwing up roadblocks when they're 5 years old?
Well, a lot of the thing that
Yeah.
you're talking about too, Emily, is like when you said like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. These teachers from Westchester don't think that they're, being discriminatory,
They don't
right?
think they're in the wrong, but they think they don't understand that there's a difference between how you teach kids in Scarsdale and how you teach kids in the South Bronx, because
Yeah,
there's
or
cultural
just
differences.
yeah, exactly, or just how you adjust based on who's there in front of you, right? Like,
It's like they just couldn't read the room.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I think that's a problem in a lot of public schools, is that and that and that's why, like, I would guess, I mean, I can't speak for people because I can't speak for the Black community because I'm not a member of that community ostensibly, but like that's why I feel like a lot of Black parents are kind of distrustful of the public schools, because it's like the public schools are trying to force kids of different cultures to conform to white standards, and
Yeah, well, it depends
they
on the
don't like
school
it.
too. Yeah,
It
and it
depends
depends
on
on the school too.
it
Some
does,
folks
but
live in neighborhoods.
a lot of public schools push push like a white centric model ostensibly, in my opinion, just based on, like, even so far as like what as the curriculum and stuff like that,
Yeah,
like all the push with standardized testing, like I feel like that, like there's such a push with like standardized testing and whatnot, that there's no room sometimes for cultural sensitivity or for like doing things differently,
yeah,
because it's like that's just the way it's always been. and and that's why I think a lot of people in minority groups are distrustful of the public education system, because to them the school is trying to fit their children, their square pegs, into round holes that they shouldn't have to be forced into.
yeah. Hey, Raul, are you still there? KD, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm here.
I forgot I had basically paused myself so I could get something out of my chair.
Oh, okay. No problem.
You forgot to unpause yourself.
Yeah.
But like, no, I didn't mean to go on a monologue about that. I just think that like,
No. This is
No, I
better than
appreciate
Shakespeare.
that.
Give me a break.
I
This
appreciate
is
your
truth.
perspective, really.
well, and it makes me angry because like it's such a multi-layered thing because like I said before, like I used to be very much against the concept of charter schools, and charter schools are useful when they're done right because charter schools are given like freedom to experiment and not have to always fit like square pegs into round holes. like we're like my school, we're allowed to do some things differently to adjust ourselves to have like square holes instead of round holes. Like where I think the problem, where I think, and so I don't completely like blame a lot of, I don't completely blame a lot of parents of color for wanting to send their kids like to a charter school instead of the neighborhood public school because they want to have options. They don't want to be pushed into a system that they feel oppresses them. Like they
No.
want to be in a system where like things can be more tailored, I guess, maybe to their kids. But I think where the problem lies much more is that like charter schools were intended to be like the school that I'm at. Like they were intended to be like schools where we could.
You're a little bit quiet.
They're intended. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
That they're intended to be like, you know, schools that are exempt from like stupid bureaucracy so that we can adjust to like to properly serve a population of students. I'm in the school that I'm in now, like we serve kids who have dropped out or been like ostensibly like counseled out of their regular public schools because it just wasn't working for them, or like they wanted to counsel out kids who were behavior problems who weren't showing up just in order to cook the books. So like we're actually serving a higher percentage of like special of kids with IEPs, like kids with like English language learners, kids with like, it was not, let's put it this way, it was not an uncommon sight before distance learning started. It was not an uncommon sight to have a kid's parole officer drop in on class to make sure that the kid was there. Like, but like, basically, like, my school was formed with like the explicit purpose of giving the quote unquote, I guess, giving society's quote unquote untouchables an education. But I think where the public versus charter, and I think schools like that absolutely need to exist and need to be given as an alternative to the public system, because the public system is pushing out so many kids with rigidity and harsh discipline and whatnot. But I think at the same time, like, the problem is that the corporations got their ugly fingers on the charter school movement, and now you get like things like Success Academy and like people who are trying to privatize or corporatize things, corporatize education to put money in their own pockets. And that's why I think it's like the charter versus public school thing is not quite as cut and dry as it's made out to be, because I think some charters exist because people need options, and some exist to like put money in limousine liberals and white saviors' pockets, honestly. And I think it's important to make that distinction when we have that discussion about education in this country. You know what I mean? Now you're quiet.
Who, me?
Yeah, you. No, you're fine now. You were just quiet for a second.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm done. If anyone wants to weigh in on that.
It's a little out of my wheelhouse, so I think I'll stay quiet. I do not know a lot of educational issues. I just know that education is extremely important, and I'm not willing to concede it over to private interests.
Well, what else is going on?
What else is going on in general in life?
I suppose. Yeah. What else do we want to talk about? Sam, what do you want to talk about, Sam? Sam.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes. We can see you
All right.
too.
Okay, good, because my internet connection just went out, so I was worried that for some reason y'all that would disrupt this.
Okay.
What else is going on right now? I mean, I agree. I agreed with a lot of. No, I mean, I think that a lot of Emily's points were really brilliant. I just know for myself personally, whenever I talk to one of the kids who I have to see as part of my job, I try not to, despite the awareness that I know they have of how the cards have already stacked against them to a certain extent just by being in the system, I don't want to give them the impression that their options are limited. I don't want, if they have dreams, I don't want to discourage them from saying, I don't want to discourage them and be like, yeah, well, they're, there are gatekeepers who are going to make sure that you'll never.
Well, Sam froze.
Yeah. You're frozen, Sam.
But I think, while we wait for Sam to unfreeze, hopefully, I think just to interject on that point, I actually explicitly have told administration and the guidance counselors not to tell me which kids are coming in with court involvement.
Okay.
Because,
Am I back?
You're back.
because I don't
Okay.
want to know. I don't want to make any. Because I know.
Judgments.
I know. Yeah, and because I know humans. I know bias is
Yeah,
an
human
unfortunate part
nature.
of human life, and I would rather not know because I don't want to prejudge them, based on if they're court involved or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That used to be an interesting thing. We used to have a thing where someone would take over for your campus office, while the director was on vacation, and they would give you the breakdown of everyone, but sometimes, I guess you just had to know the line between being fed too much information, which could give you a bias against a troubled canvasser, and then getting a heads up so you can kind of watch out and be on the lookout. I mean, looking back at it, I probably overthought it.
Well, do you mean a troubled canvasser as in a canvasser who's not doing well, or a canvasser who's batshit crazy?
Yeah, a little bit of the second. Not, I don't think that those are the only extremes, but maybe someone who just doesn't always get along with folks, or someone who can make issues in the campus office. Just someone to kind of watch out for, right? And sometimes I used to think oh, I don't want too much of this information because I don't want to start treating people different off the bat without getting to know them. Maybe some of it was almost hey, maybe I'll be that person that they somehow click with and is able to figure them out a little bit too. So maybe some of it was naive, looking back. But I was always afraid that if I looked at a note that said, "Oh, this person is like this," watch out for this person, that I might read too much of it and step out on the wrong foot when I could have figured out like a Zen-like way of figuring them out. But
Watch
yeah,
out
to
for
your
that
point.
Sam. He's a real stickler for safety in the car.
Oh, Lord.
I'm not trusting you. You already said you're a Scorpio.
Aha.
But in all fairness, I'm actually borderline between Libra and Scorpio. Like,
Well, you have to have some good parts of you, so I assume so.
Mm.
I'm a Libra. Can you tell?
I'm a Gemini, so
See,
there
Oh,
you
you're like number 2, like
Yeah.
right after the Scorpio.
go. No, aren't Geminis, well, I mean, well, it
You're
depends on who you
They're
ask.
two-faced.
Some Geminis are considered the worst, actually.
Yes, that's true.
Because there's 2 of us up in here, and you never know which one you're going to get.
That's right.
You know, Tupac was a Gemini, and they definitely played on that two-faced thing. They didn't call him
Oh.
two-faced like that. They were just saying like you didn't know if you were gonna get the calm, poetic, sensitive, articulate Tupac, or if you were gonna get the hit 'em
Straight
up.
hood.
Yeah,
Right.
blow
you know,
your head
I
off.
read
Like,
the funniest thing. I saw the funniest meme the other day.
Mhm.
Speaking of Tupac, I saw the funniest meme the other day. It was talking about like the whole like entanglement business
yeah,
with
Jada.
with Jada and Will,
Mhm.
and the meme said, and Will doesn't have any options. He can't even kill her because then she'll be with Tupac.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Oh, God. Well, no,
So-
I mean, they were never romantically involved. They were just, like, best friends.
They were really
Yeah.
close friends though, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
You know,
think they
there
were ever
seems to be.
romantically involved. But
You know, they say that they were just really, really good friends, but there was a thing there, though.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like
I
no
think
one
there
ever
was a chemistry
explicitly,
there.
no one ever explicitly said that they were an item, but there was a thing there, which makes me think maybe they at least tried it, or maybe they at least entangled once or
Well,
twice.
possibly. Well, listen, anytime if you're an artistic soul and you bond with another artistic soul, there's always passion and intensity there. And if you're
Yeah.
both heterosexual, like they are, there's
Yeah.
always
That we know of.
So there's we can always speculate. You know what I mean? Like there's always room for speculation. Like, oh well, they had all this energy, creative energy flowing around that which easily could lead to, sparks. How could nothing have happened? Well, I mean, the truth is that both of them said that nothing happened. So,
Wait, but
until
did they, are you sure that they did though? Because I feel like there was never a straight up answer. It was always like, oh, that was my homeboy. I love Tupac. Like, I feel like there was never no, we never, like, I never saw that. I never saw a no.
Yeah,
We
I don't
never
know
went
if anyone
was
ever
n-
explicitly denied
Yeah,
it.
there was never an explicit answer,
Well,
which
maybe they
made me,
did. I don't know.
which made me suspicious.
You
Unless
know,
Okay.
you know that we're going to be hired by TMZ next, right? I'm just letting you guys know.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we were
Absolutely.
already there.
yeah, I mean, she's EMZ, so
EMZ.
Yeah. We're already on EMZ, so
it's,
EMZ.
I'll have to look back through my notes because I've seen like every Tupac interview I could get my hands on, and I always tried to suss that out, and it always seemed like they were, I don't know, it never seemed like there was a direct question and answer there, which made me think they
yeah.
probably were just really close, but maybe
Yeah.
maybe
Well,
that dipped
Maybe
their
there were
toes in.
benefits
if they didn't
there.
want us to know, that's their business. So
yeah,
I'm
that's
not.
pretty much my feeling.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. You know what? I don't like so I don't need to know that. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not.
The only
You don't
thing,
need to
the only thing I
speculate
like
as
to
whether the
know about,
entanglements.
the only thing I like to know about famous people is that they don't treat their fans like garbage. If that's the only thing the rest is kind of a little, National Enquirer for me. It's just a little sleazy. I don't like to know.
Yeah, the only
Sometimes
reason I
wanna
bring
know
that
more.
up
Oh,
is
sometimes I want to know more than that, though. Sometimes I do
Of
wanna
course,
know
because
more
it's
than
human
that. Oh, yeah.
nature. Yeah, it's
Well,
human nature.
yeah, the only reason I bring that up is because I'm trying to figure out if this meme, you know, holds some kind of, you know,
Hidden truths.
like, yeah, or reality to it, or whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I
Especially,
think it's just
yeah.
someone making a joke.
Also, especially now that
Some of those jokes are based on reality, though, and I mean,
Yeah.
Will admitted to being very jealous
Yep.
of Tupac, but again, that doesn't mean that he wasn't just jealous of whatever special thing they had.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you said you're jealous of Tupac?
No, Will Smith.
No, Will Smith.
Will Smith. Oh, Will Smith is jealous of Tupac. Okay. All right. Well, listen.
You mean for Jada?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Who said that Will Smith was jealous of Tupac just now? It wasn't me.
No, I did.
Oh, there you go.
But you thought that I said I was jealous of Tupac?
Yes, for some reason. Yeah, I don't know.
You just
yeah.
misheard. That's
Well,
all.
yeah,
I just misheard it.
He's got
Well,
the
who
75. He's got the 75 million records sold worldwide. He's got the movies. He's got Jada. You know.
Yeah, but he also got killed in a drive-by. So,
Oh, you can't have it all, Sam. I mean.
Yeah, but I don't want to take it away either.
Yeah, I'm not. That's not how I would like. I'm not looking to go that way. So
I kept thinking of. I can't believe that they actually 18 years later found the
Jam Master Jay.
Killed Jam Master Jay.
Yeah.
That's
but
pretty
Tupac,
incredible.
Tupac is still a household name now, right? Because of everything that he accomplished. So okay, yeah, I guess that's at the end of the day what matters.
Well, I mean, geez, 26 was it 25? 25 is just so damn young.
Yeah.
That being said, he lived more in those 25 years than most people
do in their whole lives.
Yeah, doing their whole lives. Plus, if you added another life.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that. But 25 is just so damn young. You know, I mean, maybe if he had gone at 45, I would have been like, you know, it would have been nice to have lived longer, but what a great 45 years of life. 35, that would have also been tragically young, but 25 is just like, geez, he just.
Yep.
Well,
yes.
I mean, and he was talking about, I mean, for a person who accomplished what he set out to do, and then some, and then for a person who accomplished what he set out to do posthumously, and then some, because he was talking about being immortal and talking about, you know, just all of this creativity he would spark after his, you know, life and all that stuff. And I mean, we certainly talk about him way more than we talk about Biggie, and he certainly spoke these things into existence.
Yeah, who's we? Because have you been? Don't you live in Brooklyn?
Yeah, I do, and I have a Tupac page, and I can tell you that there's a shit ton of more content. You can go on YouTube every day and find a mention of Tupac, and a lot of it will be like full interviews. You can't do that on Biggie.
Oh, I mean, I'm not saying I don't believe you, but I mean, I think like just on this, like random people that you talk to in public, like in New York, tend to talk about Biggie more than Pac because like.
Well, I'm talking about worldwide.
Worldwide in general, yes.
I'm talking about worldwide, and I'm talking about it's not even close. But shit, what was my point? Yeah, for a person who spoke into reality, a lot of things into existence. Here was a guy that was talking about going into politics, and someone who could like enrapture audiences without rapping a word, just like through his speech. I mean, you go through his interviews, and his interviews are enrapturing, like
he
almost,
had charisma.
Yeah, almost more than his music. And he's got the political background, and
I agree with that.
And I saw the video where he was getting folks to vote a certain way on a certain proposition, and then he was saying, "Listen, you buy millions of my albums, you buy millions of Snoop's albums, millions of the Dog Pound albums. If all of you millions of people vote this way on this proposition, and then continue following me and like voting certain ways on these propositions, we can get a lot done." That's a lot of power. And like I've never seen anyone direct their power that way, so acutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think he would have done it. He was talking about leaving. He was talking about leaving music and getting way more into acting and directing.
Yes.
And
Yes, he was.
yeah, I've seen some of the videos he directed, which were good. I can only imagine, how much he would have grown. But the political thing would have been very interesting.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Well, and obviously, like, because of his family, like, who he is, like,
yeah,
he was obviously going to be very well.
Your mic's a little buried again.
Oh crap! Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
I buried my mic when I moved myself.
Oh, that sounds like a bar.
It doesn't even rhyme.
You can wait until the next bar to rhyme.
Okay. Don't be putting me on no spot there, though.
Hey, I'm feeding you jewels. This is how we're gonna organically grow. It's gonna be like Mr. Miyagi style. You're gonna organically grow your ability to rap. Next thing you know, you'll be
on, wax off.
You'll be writing your own rhymes by the time I'm done with you.
Ooh.
Well then.
There you go. Yeah. All right. That sounds hot.
Sam, oh my god.
All right, you were gonna say something, Sam.
Now we have so many listeners.
Oh,
I feel like that we have to entertain them.
Yeah, right.
Was I?
I thought you were.
Maybe. I don't remember what that. I don't remember.
Just the last thing we said
was it important?
Tupac. You agreed to Tupac.
I agreed that. Yeah, I agreed that. Like he was even more I agreed that he was more mesmerizing in his interviews than he was in his music. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. For certain.
Yeah.
What do folks think about 50 Cent as a actor?
Couldn't tell you.
I can't speak to that. I don't think I've seen him act.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Am I missing anything?
He's putting in the effort. He really is, and it's a difficult medium, and not everyone's a Will Smith like knocking it out like right out of the gate. But I'll give him credit for putting effort in. I think I've seen him grow in his acting, which is
okay.
Which is encouraging.
Oh well, that's good.
Yeah.
Was Will Smith? Did Will Smith rap first or act first?
He rapped
first.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
Then,
that's where Fresh Prince was his rap moniker.
Yeah, the Fresh Prince was his first.
Yes, that's true.
First gig.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For reminding me. Yeah, it's just he was. Yeah, I think it's just because I was fairly young when he first showed up on the scene, but that makes sense. I get it now. Thank you for the reminder. It's just that
parents just don't understand.
Parents just don't understand. But it was hard to remember that. I guess it was hard for me to remember that came out before the show. But yeah. I think they came out. Didn't they come out very close to one another? I was really young,
close.
so
no, well, kind of close. I think parents just don't understand. Being the first, kind of came out a little before, but by the time Fresh Prince the show came out, he was still putting out music, so yeah, it would be easy to mix.
That's cool. Oh yeah,
mix up the two.
Yeah, it'd be easy to mix up the two.
Yep, still putting out albums.
Yeah,
here we go with the age reversal around here again, because I had to be the one to say whether Will Smith acted or rapped first.
Well, no, thank you. I appreciate that. Right, exactly. No, that's a good point because I just So yeah, that makes sense because no, and you're right because the show came out like a few years later. So
yeah, he was big in Philly and stuff.
My job to correct the elderly.
And Raul, I remember I want to think what year was this. I was living with my friend Otis and his aunt at the time, I think. And so this had to be around 96, 97. I remember, and this is, when I'm still like heavy into buying the hip hop magazines as they come out.
Source and the rest, yeah.
Yeah, print is still a thing. Vibe, Source, XXL, Some other ones, rap pages that aren't even, weren't even
Complex.
around a little after that. Complex wasn't really.
Or did that come out later?
Well, definitely Complex at one point. I don't remember if it was at that point. But Will Smith was quoted in a magazine, and I had to like keep rereading it and laughing about it. Will Smith was quoted as saying, line for line. Back then, they didn't really say bar. They said line. He said line for line. There's not another MC out there who can touch me except for Rakim. And I was just like,
Will Smith said that?
Will Smith said that.
Oh my lord.
And
Well, he don't got
years
to
later,
his rhyme to sell records.
yeah, years later, someone tried to convince me that that was a joke or a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, but it certainly didn't.
It doesn't sound like that.
Yeah, it certainly didn't seem so at the time. I'm like,
it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't.
Does he really think that about himself? Like,
I think his looks may have gone to his head.
Well, and he was doing well between the show, and by then he was starting to get into movies. So
yep,
maybe
exactly.
Maybe that just blew his head up.
Yeah.
But then again, he was such a showman, and hip hop was about the braggadocio that maybe he was like giving us what we wanted. Like some rappers beef with other rappers to sell records, and maybe Will
look
Smith,
at Kool D and LL Cool J back in the day.
So with him not having any rivalries, maybe he just said ridiculous, arrogant sounding shit to make us.
He didn't have any rivalries. That's true. He didn't have any rivalries, right? No.
Yeah,
he was too friendly. He was too nice to have rivalries. Give me a break.
That's true. He
was hip hop PG version.
Yeah, and plus
he could have fought with Kid and Play, maybe, but I mean that's about it.
I know, right? But he was, he did. Yeah, it's true. He was just He's a really nice guy. It would honestly, that's one of those. But honestly, again, it would just be one of those things where it was just like if Will Smith were not a nice guy, it would be like unreasonable. It really would.
Yeah.
Like he has no reason in the world to have a grudge or to pick a fight with anybody. So like, why on earth? That would just be like, okay, you're a dick.
Except for the entanglements, I guess that could.
Oh, the entanglements. Yeah.
I like that word.
That could make
I like that word.
Dude. Yeah, just dude.
Yeah.
Just say it flat out. She cheated. What? Why?
Well,
why are we calling it an entanglement?
But here's why. Because it's been known for a while that they have an open relationship.
Yes.
So
didn't they deny that though?
They did.
See, they never.
But
they never flat out denied it though. It was
Not
always.
Here we go again.
Yeah, well, that's their thing. It's like, listen, they don't really they're interesting to me. They're kind of like evolved in such a way that like they don't like to just box things into like common words.
They don't like to fit square pegs into round holes.
Yeah.
Well,
more ways and more ways than one.
But you were thinking the same thing.
Yeah, but no, they don't. They have an open relationship, but it's like they probably didn't really call it that, and it's like you asked Will like, oh well, is she allowed to do this or that? And it's like, allowed? She's a person, like she's not. I don't own her. Like, what do you mean allowed? And it's like trying to have a conversation, and you're like some kind of journalist.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you do bring up a good point, like, because for example, like I personally like have always like refused to say like, is Misha allowed to do this? Is Misha allowed to do that? And vice versa, because like what are we doing here? We're both grown-ass adults.
Yeah, and it's like ridiculous trying to fit what you do into someone else's meaning, Like people have always tried to like put things in boxes, and it's just like, yeah, we do our thing. I don't know. I just read into this a while ago, and you can always tell that there was something there, but they just weren't flat out saying it. So there was no sensational front page story. Will and Jada admit to an open relationship, right? It was never anything like that. It was
Well, and
just
I don't
like,
think they wanted it to be like that, like, because they knew that would go right on the front cover of the National Enquirer.
well, yeah, that's the point I'm making. It's like that wasn't like their thing, but they were just open, but they didn't want to like slap some label on it that was easy for like, you know, some newspaper or some journalist to like run with or something. It was just their thing, just what they did. So when she used the word entanglement, I think the reason why everyone's getting such a chuckle out of it is like that kind of makes more sense. Like they're creatives, you know? They're like poets and actors and creatives, and like a word like entanglement probably more embodies what this thing was than just to slap a crass label on it, like, oh, we had a fling or an affair.
Well, they were probably entangled, all right. Let's just leave it there.
Yeah, well, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Always practice safe sex, guys.
Isn't that my line? I'm
Well,
safety
Wait,
Sam.
why? Is she having his baby? Is that what you're insinuating?
Oh.
no,
Ooh.
no,
Oh, okay.
no. I was just making a joking disclaimer.
No,
Oh,
it's
okay.
true. No, yeah, it's true.
You
Oh,
heard
that's
it
so
here
good.
first, folks, on EMZ.
Oh.
Dun,
Wow.
dun, dun,
Here's
dun,
the thing:
dun.
I do not encourage cheating if you're not going to do it safely. I do not encourage entangling if you're not going to do it safely.
Entanglements.
Safe entanglements.
All that she wants. Yeah. But
Is it safe entanglement? Whoa.
exactly. And she's gone tomorrow. This is what an interesting, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, so this is like the first thing I feel like we've heard on that front in a long time. Like they're very, you know what I mean? Like he long ago, like pretty much conquered the movie world. So I think that he's kind of just like, I don't even remember, like, does he still make movies? I think so, but like it's just been so
Well, he's
long.
producer now, and
Is
they
anybody
own.
making movies now?
Exactly. So
There's no movie
did
theater
that.
to go to.
Right, exactly. Well, they're reopening stuff now, but
Plus the stream
yeah.
for that.
But so
You know what? I can't wait because, you know, speaking of which, Raul, when I was telling you about that great show that I found, was it something Star Command or whatever it was called?
Star Commanders.
Star Commander. So the pilot episode is great. It's only an hour, and they haven't gotten a chance to shoot the second hour yet, but they still shot
Gotcha.
episode 2, and supposedly there's more episodes. Let me tell you, when people say, so how do you shoot a movie during COVID? You don't. You don't is the answer. Because what they did was all the actors kind of zoomed in their roles and they turned it into like this interview episode. Remember when you were making fun of saying like, we're going to have a clip episode talking about other episodes and showing clips?
Oh, like
This
the
was
little
worse.
clip show we were having.
Yeah, this was worse because it's like the whole thing was just all these interviews, and I'm like, this is awful. Like the pilot was great. We got to see all this action. We got to see, you know, different things, backstories, and interesting things. And like episode 2 is a total pandemic shit show.
Oh, shame.
that sucks.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have to say though, like, I feel like Saturday Night Live actually did pull it off though.
Oh, I don't.
Oh, I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
It wasn't as funny as in studio Saturday Night Live. I'll give you that. But like,
Yeah.
but it had its moments.
But everyone was in their own Zooming
Yeah.
it in.
Yep.
I mean, if you can do it, you're probably a genius. And, you know, if you can find some ways to, I don't know, drop off set pieces to people and like me and Emily. Well, no, because even then we're not seeing the same thing unless you can set it up, right? So like on my screen, Emily is right there, Raul's there, and then Sam is diagonal there, and then Katie's at the bottom there, and then Ish. Hey, what's up, Ish? issues all the way at the bottom. But
He's been
everyone tells me
silent.
everyone tells me it's different on their screens. Wait, unless it's the same on laptops and the same on
No, because the videos are different than like the order on my screen. Like, for example, like I'm always like you're always in the center and the other people are always surrounding you. So like I'm on the center on my screen, you're on the center on your screen.
Wait, on a laptop?
Well, on a computer in general.
Oh, well, how many rows are there on your screen right now?
I have 2 rows on my screen.
Oh, well, see, I have 3.
Oh, well, excuse me, aren't you special?
No, but that's
Is
but
the bottom row the silent people who are they alive?
yeah, the bottom row is the silent people, but that's just interesting because it just lets me know maybe why we're seeing it differently.
I only have 1 row with a big picture being whoever's talking.
Oh, well, because you have it.
You're in speaker view.
Wait, are you on your phone?
No, I'm on the computer.
Oh, yeah, because you're in speaker view. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know. I wasn't aware that we would be doing that I would be doing a reading of Jay and Silent Bob tonight with multiple Silent Bobs.
Ha 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 ha.
Boom.
That's okay, Scorpio.
Did
We
you all,
know.
right. Did you all have fun reading Shawshank the other night?
We
Oh,
did.
that
Emily
was
was giggling though in the middle. She almost made me giggle.
Oh, that's funny. That's
well,
funny.
because I was playing all of like the miscellaneous characters.
Mm.
All the
So, like,
yeah.
They
I
had
was
all the
talking to
harshest
myself.
language, too. All of your miscellaneous characters had all of the harshest language.
Oh, wow.
Well, what else is new? That like life imitates art or art imitates life. One of those two. Because apparently, although I would like to say I do not think that I have the harshest language on the program anymore. I think I've washed my mouth out with soap.
Oh, do you?
I don't think that's a very believing statement.
Hey, so I just want you to know that I was just trying something new, and I was trying to broadcast this meeting live on YouTube Live, but either way, it's not letting me. It's saying I can't do it with my Google account.
Yeah, because it's attached to mine.
Oh, okay. That's what I figured.
But like,
But we should think about that one day if we ever want to go
Okay.
live.
Yeah.
one day, in a land far, far away.
So can I hear your Morgan Freeman voice, Flavy?
Let's see.
Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Let's go get. Let's go get a page or something like that, and then, or if you can remember, or if you can remember a line from the other night, please, I'd be honored.
Okay, let me see if I can look it up. I feel like it's just as good if I just make up my own words.
Make something up. What do you think Morgan Freeman would say?
Mr. Levy, you come in here with your green shirt and your pearly white teeth, and you think you're just gonna stand there and grandstand and stand in the middle of my class? Sit your ass down.
I like it. It's good.
Thank you. This room is a sacred, special place.
The classroom is a sacred, special place.
Thank you, Mrs. Predmore.
Don't call me Mrs. That's my mother-in-law.
I sincerely apologize.
That was good. I heard that. I heard it. Oh man, that was good.
Yeah, it was a fun time. It was good. And Raul, for someone who didn't really want to do it, you ended up with a good role.
I tried. I tried my best, and then I was trying,
Yeah.
But I just get nervous. I'm not very. I don't feel I'm a very good actor. So
Well, I feel what was good was like it felt like natural. It wasn't like I feel like you worked with what you had, and you just made it like natural. So it was
yeah,
Oh, who did you end up playing, Raul?
Andy,
You did. You played Andy.
I
Oh,
did, I
wow.
did.
And
But
then
he didn't have a lot of lines early on.
yeah, that was actually surprising. He didn't for someone who was the main who you figured. Well, I guess technically Morgan was the main character.
And I think Morgan is the main.
Yeah.
They both are. They're both. It's the
Yeah.
two of them. They're both like the. They're
So-
both the leads.
They're both the protagonists.
Yeah, surprisingly at that point, Andy doesn't have as many lines as you would think he would have.
Not in the beginning, right?
No,
Yeah. Well,
No.
we got through like page like 49, didn't we?
Oh, wow.
45.
yeah, 45, 49, something like that.
So we got through all the way to where they watched the movie in the prison,
Mm.
and then the guy gets thrown over. The guy who,
Torments him.
Yeah, his tormentor gets thrown over,
Oh,
Yeah, we
wow,
got through
yeah.
that part.
breaks his legs.
Breaks his everything, apparently.
And then
Oh, wa-
then we got interrupted because Cynthia's internet cut her off, and we decided to stop.
Yeah,
Oh.
I had been looking for a good.
I was tired.
stop.
I was tired.
Yeah, no,
And
I
you
thought
were
it was
tired.
perfect. I thought it was perfect that we stopped there, but I would love to pick it up sometime. But I also know we want to do My Cousin Vinny, but I would love to.
Oh my God! I need to be there. I need to be there for My Cousin Vinny.
Cynthia
I
wants to do
gotta
it.
be there for that.
Yeah.
Oh, are
wants-
Cynthia and I are probably gonna have to fight to play Marissa Tomei. we're gonna be like,
Yeah,
we're gonna be fighting. She and I are gonna be fighting over that one. I bet. Yeah.
I'll take that.
That's awesome. But however, there are also a couple of scenes in Shawshank that probably may not be so great to reenact. So,
we did those.
It was
We
a
did
little
those.
awkward.
We did those already.
oh really?
As a matter of fact, Sam, we all felt the same way. Like, whoa, we didn't remember.
I didn't even
We
remember
didn't
it at all.
remember Shawshank being like that.
Yep.
And so we were thinking, is this one of those cases where they took the script and they decided to temper it down a little bit? But then I spoke to Ish and he was like, no, that was all in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I really like reading the script. I was like really feeling for that character. We're like
Mhm.
in the script and I'm like, just tell me he's going to find a way out of it. Or just tell me, cause I'm really thinking to myself, like, listen, if this guy became, this hot shot, or this guy was this and that, and he was a lawyer and he could do this for people, I would have thought they would have been protecting him, which I guess they eventually did, but
After he told them he could provide them with certain services.
Oh, right. Yeah, that
Exactly.
was-
After he said what he could do for them was when the only
Yeah,
time that
he
they
was like,
decided
yeah,
to
he's like,
protect
I
him.
but even then, Boggs still beats the shit out of him, and he goes to
Yep.
the infirmary for a month. So they
Yep.
really were not
Language.
protecting this guy. No, I'm
Well,
allowed to
that
say
was
shit.
that was before he did the favor for Boggs.
Mm,
He beat him before he did the favor.
no, this was before and after.
Oh, okay. I don't remember
Remember,
that.
because he gets everyone a beer, and
Yeah.
remember they're sweeping, and they're wondering what. Favor for Boggs or favor for the
Favor for
Favor for the
Boggs.
guard.
favor
Oh
for the
no, I'm
guard.
sorry, the guard.
Yeah, favor for the guard.
Hadley.
So yeah, he did the favor for the guard before they even got the beers.
Right.
So he had
right.
already been doing favors for the guards, and he still got beat up severely in lieu of doing the other thing they were trying to do to him. They ended up Boggs ended up beating him up severely, and it's then after he gets beat up severely that they decide to push Boggs. They work him over, beat him up bad, and push him over, the third floor. And while Dufresne is recovering, Boggs has already been beat up. But at that point, they had been benefiting from Dufresne for a while. So it really seems like they were not really protecting him.
The philosophy of the Shawshank Redemption.
That was a deep movie. It deserves analytics. Yeah. I think.
I had to warn Misha beforehand so he didn't think we were reading erotica again.
Again?
Oh, that's funny.
Well, who were you playing the part of the woman?
Yes.
Yeah.
But before that, when I was reading, when we did Friday, when I was reading the stage directions, he came into the room and asked if we were reading erotica.
I have to be honest. I think The Shawshank Redemption is overrated.
Ish doesn't care for it as much either. He says, what does Ish say about it? That it's Ish is right here, but he's on silent, so I'll just speak for him. He says that it's like dramatic and that it's boring, but boring in a good way, which I still don't really understand. But yeah, he doesn't.
Okay.
I think he doesn't like it.
I mean,
maybe the plot is like slow moving.
Well, it's interesting. Morgan Freeman was amazing in it, but honestly, first of all, it's rated as the best movie of all time according to Internet Movie Database users. So now, not that necessarily means anything, but that just drives me nuts. But
that's just opinion.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think it's as deep as a lot of people who. I guess a lot of other people who watch it, or I don't think it's as deep. I don't think it's as deep as I guess a lot of other people do, or as profound as is the consensus. But that's just my opinion. I don't think it's as, But
for instance, my favorite movie, and we could just talk about this openly. My favorite movie is Lawrence of Arabia with.
That's a great movie, Peter O'Toole.
With Peter O'Toole, which I think he's an underrated actor by far.
I think it's a great. I think it's a great movie.
And then what's the one that is considered the best movie of all time, where he says Rosebud at the end?
Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane, which is really good. It's a great movie.
Yeah,
but I think A Touch of Evil is actually much better from Orson Welles.
Well, it's interesting. Citizen Kane is a great movie, but however, the unfortunate thing about it is that if you've never seen it before, I can't speak to everyone's experience, but this was certainly mine. Going into it, you're told that this is the best movie ever made and that therefore it's going to be better than everything else ever. And so when you go into it, having been told that, it's going to be a letdown. Like there's just no way around.
Yeah, so I don't like going into anything that way.
Right. So you shouldn't approach it. You shouldn't approach it that way, but it's almost impossible not to. It is a great movie though. Touch of Evil is probably more entertaining. It's more fun. But I think the reason Citizen Kane is probably considered, I would say it's either Citizen Kane or The Godfather. But the reason I think
the first or the second?
The first one.
Gotcha.
I think the reason Citizen Kane is probably has that reputation is because I think it changed what movies could do in terms of how it could tell a story. Like before that, it was basically just, there's, they plot it in this scene, like this scene happens, and then this scene happens, and then this scene happens.
It was very mechanical.
It wasn't mechanical, but it was more along the lines of like a filmed play, because like that's what they were thinking, like, prior to that. But this was Citizen Kane was like the first movie that like, but no, you have a good point, Raul, in terms of that way. Yeah, it's more mechanical. It was like a regular structure. You were right. But Citizen Kane was like one of the first movies, if not the first, that like could told its story like used
through a non-linear
but also used visuals to tell the story in a way that it hadn't been done before. Like for instance, his entire his first marriage is basically told just as like literally like a 20-second scene of like a 20-second series of scenes of the two of them sitting at their dinner table together, and the richer he gets, the farther away they sit from each other at the dinner table. Do you know what I mean? And so that like that's like an expression of how, like, you know, the longer they get married, like the farther apart they grow from each other. So there's stuff like that. There's also like the cinematography is incredible. Like the way they use the camera in that movie was just it did things that at the time nobody else had ever thought of doing before. And when you see it, you'll understand why. But
another favorite director of mine has to be the Psycho director.
Hitchcock.
Hitchcock.
Of course.
Unbelievable, unbelievable techniques. Just revolutionary.
Yeah. Yep. And Psycho was weird. Psycho was kind of, it's funny, Psycho was like a departure for him at the time because it was kind of like a cheapy, like
It was.
But at the same and it ended up probably being his most like infamous movie.
My favorite of his movies has to be the Paranoid one, North by Northwest. I love that movie.
That's a great one too.
That's a close second to me.
That's a great one too. I also love Rear Window.
Rear Window was big. You know, there's a joke about Orson Welles and Rear Window. Orson Welles got a cutout of Hitchcock and put him in his outside window, and then he would because they had offices close by to each other, and so they would play pranks on each other. And
that's funny.
So he every time he brought a guest over to his office, he'd say, "See that's Orson, that's Hitchcock in my rear window."
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Rear Window was a major success in the movie theaters.
Yeah. And that just goes to show that Hitchcock was such an amazing director that like he could make a movie which basically took place entirely like on one set and just make it one of the most exciting and suspenseful movies ever.
Vertigo was another good one from him. Unbelievable.
You know, actually, that's probably the one that I
dislike the most.
I'm a little underwhelmed by it. Yeah.
My mom was particularly scared of the birds, by the way.
Oh well, welcome to my life. Yeah.
That's your whole life. With
yeah,
the birds.
Your life of vengeful birds.
Yeah, exactly. No, I hear you. I mean, when I was a kid, that movie kind of had me on the edge of my seat too. Yeah.
It was interesting because he used 3 different types of birds. He used mechanical, real birds, and animation birds.
Yep. Yep.
He was very flexible to tell a story.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
I have a lot of respect for that man.
Oh,
he was kind of a misogynist, but
yeah, he was a jerk.
Yeah, he was not a nice person, but he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, no,
he used animation as well, you said?
He used animation in the birds, yeah.
In the birds, yeah. He for some of the effects shots, yeah, he used like animated birds instead of live ones, yeah. But he also
animatronic.
But he also did use live birds for a few of the shots too.
He did. He was very flexible.
No animals were harmed in the making of this film.
I
hope.
I don't know. I don't think that may not have been the case back then. I think that was something that was like, I think that law was created like after this, like sometime in the 70s. Yeah.
The 70s is what I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean there were definitely scenes like he threw real live birds at Tippi Hedren.
Yes, he did.
Jesus Christ.
So,
he was famous for torturing his actors.
Wait, into the what?
He threw the actress, the lead in the film. He like at one point during one scene in like the climax, he threw like to get a realistic shot at her. He threw like he threw the real bird at her. He threw real birds at her, and yeah, he was known for like actually no, I mean as Raul just said. well, one of Hitchcock's famous quotes was that he said, "I never said that actors are cattle." He said, "I never said actors are cattle. I said they should be treated like cattle."
Oh wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That's just yeah. So
That's an old school director, though. That's like literally like,
yeah, he was a jerk.
yeah.
He was a jerk. But he was also a genius, and he, so he made a lot of great like movies.
I
considered the
find
greatest,
that if
director?
you're, I'm
What?
sorry, what'd you say, Flav?
Is he considered the greatest director of all time?
Hitchcock?
That's a tough one.
I think
He's
a lot
good.
I think a lot of people would Hitchcock. I think a lot of people would put him up there. Yeah.
And then the guy who did Rosebud, right?
Orson Welles, yeah.
Yeah.
Orson Welles. And they
He's
were
considered
friends.
the greatest, right?
Yeah,
They were friends?
He is. They were friends.
Yeah, but so those two would be up there. I think Hitchcock, just for the sheer number of like great movies he made, I think maybe.
And then TV series.
Yes.
Which is how I first encountered him, because my mother wouldn't let me watch any of his movies, which is probably a wise thing.
Oh,
as
that's
a kid.
that's interesting. My parents were actually fairly liberal with what they let us watch. I mean, I think I wasn't really allowed to watch anything really graphically violent before the age of like 10. But I think
Sure.
I remember going to see Terminator 2. That was the first R-rated movie I saw in theaters, was like Terminator 2.
What age?
So
And how old were you?
I was 10.
Oh, okay.
I now know how old I am compared to you.
Okay, there you go. I do remember seeing a few movies before that where I wanted to see them because they look good, but my mother was just like, if you go to that, you're gonna run out because you're gonna get scared. And I was like, no, I won't.
Wait, was Terminator 2 88?
No, that was 91.
It was 91.
Oh, okay.
I'm flattered that you think that I'm 42, but that's okay.
Meanwhile,
Oh, Sam, it's just by looks. Don't worry about it. I mean,
Exactly.
No, I was only, for some reason, I thought the first one must have been 84.
The first one is 84.
Oh,
First
okay.
one is
So for
84.
some reason, I thought it couldn't have been more than 4 years between the two.
No, because Cameron, he then, in between, he made Aliens, and then he made The Abyss also. So
okay,
I
so
love The Abyss.
it was a bigger deal when the second one came out because it had
What,
taken a long
T2?
time. Yeah. And
It's
it
funny,
taken a
I
long time.
yeah.
We didn't know it was going to come out. And then the special effects had really gone to the next level.
The special effects were amazing. I still prefer the first one though. But the special effects in the second one are out of this world. They still are like mind blowing.
man, I still think I'm the only one here who actually had their parents questioned about why I was allowed to watch South Park.
Well, I was too old. I was too old by that time.
Yeah, that's true. No, I think I was 16 when the show came out. So they were like, all right. They were like, you're old enough for this.
Crap for allowing me to watch South Park.
Wait, what happened?
People gave my parents, like other parents gave my parents crap.
Oh, because you used to watch it at your friend's house, right? You would go
I was allowed to watch it. And my friends' parents thought my parents were too permissive because I was only 13.
Oh. Well, I mean, screw them if they can't take a joke. So to speak.
Not.
Or not, right? Yeah, exactly. Or not is better.
That's
exactly right. Exactly, Raul. No, my parents were very very open-minded about what they let us watch because they thought it was a good idea to like expose us to new ideas and concepts and art and stuff like that. So
I see that.
Yeah, they were. They wanted to know what we were watching and watch it with us, but they were still very. But for the most part, they were very however, we also used to sit down and watch like Married with Children together. So, I mean, if that's not like inclination, yeah. We also watched The Cosby Show and Roseanne. However, I think what's ironic about all of that now is that The Cosby Show and Roseanne were considered the positive, upstanding family shows, sitcoms of the time, and they were. But now those shows are both disgraced because of what their creators have done or said. Well, Marry the Children, which was a horribly politically incorrect show and promoted a very dysfunctional family. That show now is like gets off scot-free. I love it. It's so ironic and funny.
Now let me ask you a question. You're talking about like your parents like allowing you guys to like pretty much to watch whatever
within reason,
wanted,
yeah.
within reason.
Yeah.
Were they also like the kind of parents who preferred that you try alcohol at home rather in a dark alley?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
My dad was an alcoholic, so my mom did not allow anything of that.
Okay. Understood.
Still to this day, I don't drink really. So.
Yeah. I don't really drink. I don't really drink unless I'm with people. It's just socially I drink. But I did, however, want to get drunk. I do, however, I did, get drunk for the first time at a friend's house, and my parents knew that I was going to, and they even helped me pick out like something to bring. They were just like, don't leave the house, like stay in your friend's house and just be careful. And then and I followed their advice, and I was safe, and everything was fine. It was fun, even though.
How old were you?
16.
Okay.
And then when I graduated high school, which was not too long thereafter, and there were a lot of parties afterwards. My parents were like, no, if you want to get drunk, just you want to invite some friends over and get drunk at home. Like, yeah, do it at home.
If you're going to get drunk, do it here.
Do it here. Yeah.
That's the wiser approach, because cutting something off from a child completely without their knowledge or without some background, it leads to curiosity and dangerous situations. So I'd much rather a parent be permissive, even to the point of some other parents calling it foolish, than they be restrictive and the kid want that more than ever.
Yeah.
And do it in the worst of times.
See, I think I was just like a weird kid because I was like too rule adherent as a teenager. Like I had no interest in drinking as a teenager or anything because I was just like, but I'm only 15. It's illegal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also, I should also add that my parents were not like, oh, you can drink whenever you want. They were not like those kinds of parents either. But, once they understood that I was at the age when I was going to be curious about it, they were like, okay, you want to try it? You're old enough now and this is happening now. So if you want to try it, okay, but you're going to, if you want to do that experimenting, then like do it at home where we can watch you and make sure nothing happens to you.
And then they got you the cheapest alcohol known to man, Pabst.
Right, to dissuade me from it.
To dissuade you from ever doing that again.
No, that would be funny. But my parents were both kind of they were kind of like connoisseurs. So
gotcha. You got the good stuff.
Yeah.
I guess like I was allowed like on holidays and stuff to have
same here.
To have a glass of wine like from when I was like 15 or 16, but but I was never like obviously like allowed to get drunk.
Right. No, same. No. Same here. Like they were not, before, before that, like, I was allowed to drink on, Friday night, Shabbat and everything like that, or at holidays. But then once I became curious, once I got to the age where I was curious and I was like, okay, this is like, they were like, when they understood that like this was a rite of passage, they were like, rather than try to dissuade me from it, because at a certain age, that's only gonna like make you want do it more and do it in ways that will be potentially very unsafe. They were just like, all right, here, all right, sure, we'll get all the alcohol. Come on over, like get your friend, like invite your friends over. My mom was very popular among my friends.
She still
I
is.
wonder
Yeah,
why.
yeah. They really, my friends like her. Like, it's,
I love Mama Carol.
Hey,
So you guys
thank you,
had
Emily. I'll tell her you said that.
you had the music popping and the drinks
Oh yeah,
going.
one day. Oh my God, one day my mom picked me up from high school and her car, and she was blasting out like rock, like really awesome rock music, or like I don't even remember what it was. But she rolled the window and I came down, and a bunch of like friends were like, "Oh my God, that's your mom? She's so cool!" Yeah. So
You're like, and
my-
you haven't even been to the parties yet.
I know. Yep. Exactly.
Oh man.
No, I know.
You know what's
Little-
so funny? I remember like I'm speaking of parents and substances. Like I remember when my brother graduated from college, he like his last year of college he had rented an apartment with like he had rented a house with like 3 or 4 other guys. And the 3 or 4 other guys were like, I mean, this is Oberlin, what the hell do you expect? But they
Yes.
were like massive, the other guys were like massive potheads, except like all of them were like massive potheads except for my brother. And when we got there for his graduation, the house like reeked up and down of weed. Like people had been taking bong rips in there for like the past like 24 hours straight or something. And but what ended up happening was that basically my dad smelled like my mom started to have a fit at the smell of weed and was like, should we talk? Says to my dad, was like, should we talk to him? Should we talk to him about this? I'm really concerned about this. I'm really worried. And my dad ended up sitting my brother down and giving him a long talk about how like a lecture about how, well, son, you're entering the job market now, like you need to be careful because you might get drug tested, yada yada yada, and had like this awkward conversation. And my brother is like, I swear to God, like that's my roommates, I don't smoke pot. Meanwhile, I never got this lecture. Like, you're not reading the room, people.
Well, did they ever go to your place and smell a bunch of pot?
Oh,
No, because I never lived in a place that smelled like a bunch of pot because I'm really careful about not smelling like a bunch of pot.
Oh, yeah. And there was the diversion.
Exactly. Well, my brother also is like the only person that I've ever met who actually burns incense for the sake of burning incense. Like,
Right.
most people burn incense to cover up the smell of pot.
Yeah.
He burns incense because he likes the smell.
Yeah.
So there I mean I owe him one. He's throwing all these red herrings out, getting my parents worried that he was a pothead.
That's pretty
So I
funny.
could get away with it
that's very funny.
because I was considered like the straight and narrow acting kid.
Right.
Nah, by who? No,
So your brother
offense.
So your brother never was a pothead.
I mean, he tried it, but like it was never
Okay.
his thing.
Yeah.
Like,
So it really was his roommates.
no, that was not a lie. It really was his roommates. Like, it's not like marijuana is not his thing, or drinking. Like, substances in general aren't really his thing.
Mhm.
Like, he doesn't need substances to be goofy. He's goofy enough as it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds like me. There you go. I don't need substances either. I'm plenty goofy without them.
Well, I finally lost my taste for substances as well. So the alcohol.
No.
Yeah, the alcohol's just been kind of sitting around. I mean, I slowly was like sipping it since it came from Ghana, but really the only times I drink it was on Zoom calls, and then even then I was like, there's no point in like sitting here drinking on a Zoom call. It's just really
Right.
point.
I
And
mean,
then
I'm
my
not gonna
weed's
lie,
just been here forever.
I actually don't think that I've drank alcohol like at all since like the beginning of summer. And I mean, honestly, part of my giving up drinking was probably like helped by the COVID, because like I feel like if there was actually like the opportunity to be going to bars and whatnot, I would have a hard time like not drinking if I was actually in a bar.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
being
it's different
home all
at
the
home.
time, I feel absolutely no
desire.
I feel no desire to like go to order anything, to go to the liquor store and wait in the socially distanced line.
Yeah.
Neither do I. And honestly, I've gotten to the point, I don't like going out to bars anymore. I don't like being around, like, you know, it's probably a sign
I don't
of
like
age.
loud crowds.
Yeah, I don't like loud crowds. I mean, you know, I'll go out to certain loud events, like if there's like an activity there, but not to just like drink. I don't like to spend like my disposable income on it anymore. The environment, the atmosphere, like I would much rather just do that around people I actually know that I like to be around, rather than having to deal with like loud strangers who like get handsy and like don't know where they're going when they've had too much to drink. So that's, yeah.
Sorry about Misha.
Oh, well, I mean, you know, what can you do? Plus he's 6'3". Yeah. Oh God, you know, that reminds me of, do you remember that? I remember one of the last times I remember one time I really had a fun time with you guys, was when we all went out to that haunted house. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
That was so much fun. And we all went in together.
Wait,
and
are
then
you looking at me?
No, it was me and
No,
Rob
I went
and like
with Emily and Misha. We all went out to a haunted house, I think on
Rob and
Lafayette.
Julian went too.
Yes, Rob and Julian went too. And I remember at one point I was with the two of you, but then one of the actors like separated the two of us, and she started staring at me with her makeup and her glowing eyes. And I called out for you. I was like, Emily, Misha, and she goes, Emily, Misha are dead. And I was like, oh, okay. It was such a fun night. Yeah, no, I miss going out to places. I'm like so bored.
Yeah, I feel like that we might have done that. That like we might have done the haunted house for my birthday one year, or like we might something like that.
Yeah, because your birthday's always around Halloween, so.
Well, my birthday's the same day every year, just like yours is.
Yes, that's what I mean. Did I not? did I make it sound as though your birthday was a different day every year?
You said, well, it's always around Halloween, and it's like, well, why wouldn't it be? It's
Yeah.
not like that's gonna change.
And then Misha's birthday's like right after yours, right?
Misha's birthday is exactly a month after mine.
Right.
So his
Yes.
birthday occasionally falls on Thanksgiving.
Yes. And now my birthday's a national holiday too. I would get to join the club.
Well, mine's not really a national holiday. It's just close to a holiday.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's true.
I still have to go to work on my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Although I don't mind because the kids always do something nice.
That's good. So what do you guys all want to do when we're finally out of this? What's the first thing that you guys want to do?
I want to go out on a yacht and like have a little yacht party.
Woo, fancy.
Yeah.
Fancy. You want to?
I just keep seeing my friends and my cousins like hanging out on boats and like yachts. It doesn't have to be like a huge one, you know, just one big enough for us to fit on.
You want to play act like the 1% for a day, huh? I like it.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I love water, and boats are fun.
Me too. I love the water. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a good time.
Yeah, sounds good. Emily, what about you?
I don't know. I feel like I miss going to like concerts and sporting events.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the instant that they start letting fans back into Yankee Stadium, I'm there.
No, I know. I realize that I realize that there may be some like repressed anger here, like going on because of the fact that like they had to cancel their game tonight.
They didn't cancel it.
Oh, they didn't? I thought they had to because
No.
I thought it got rained out.
they played through 4 innings, then it started raining. So they suspended the game for 2 hours and then they picked it back up.
Oh, okay. My mistake. I'm sorry.
I mean, I haven't been watching it because I've kind of been like reading the lips of people on the convention.
Oh, how's that been going? I've been too scared to watch, yeah.
Well, the speeches are over for the night, but basically
Yeah.
there were a whole bunch of people, like Republicans included, basically like, we got to get this asshole out of office because, you know, he completely fucked everything up. And there was some girl who talked about how her dad was an avid Trump supporter and believed that the virus was a hoax and wouldn't take precautions and ended up passing from the COVID. And was like, you know, this is serious shit, people.
That's really sad. I'm sorry for her dad.
Like,
I cannot bring myself to watch the debates.
When are they?
I don't know, but
no time soon.
I've been told that they're still planning to do the 3 debates like always. I'm sorry, with those 2, I cannot. I will I'll have to be on suicide watch. It will.
Well,
I'm
like
kidding,
watching...
obviously. I'm
kidding. Do we want to wait? Why don't we do? Can we do a share for those?
What we should do is we should record our thoughts live and as they're airing, as they're we should.
Let's do the live YouTube thing.
Yes, I will be knee deep in ice cream and alcohol for those nights. It's the only way. Yeah, it was. I mean, you know, yeah. The thought of the 2 of them actually debating. Oh my God, I can't.
Well,
so is Kamala gonna debate Pence too? Is that how it works?
I think so. Yeah,
I would imagine so. And
that I want to see.
That one
Can
I'll be.
he
That
even
one
talk?
That one I'll be fine with. That one I'll be fine with.
Like put words together.
Well, also is he
probably like
only if the words are Jesus.
Well, also, you know, Mother will have to be
Related.
nearby because he gets nervous being around women without his wife nearby. So, you know, Mother will have to be close by.
Wait, is that what he calls his wife?
Yes.
Wow. Oh, I thought you actually meant his
he's gonna
mother.
he's gonna have to have his wife
Yep.
with him on the debate stage because
He gets
Kamala
nervous.
is
Holding his hand whenever he gets nervous.
Yep.
Whenever Kamala turns up the heat.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
That'd be hilarious if they actually had to do that.
I know, right?
I'm gonna count how many times they have to say, Kamala, would you please redirect your words to Mr. Pence and not
Mrs. Pence?
Mother?
Not Mother. Oh my God.
That's gonna be a shit show.
Yeah, it is.
I thought it was good enough when I thought it was good enough when it was Joe Biden versus Sarah Palin.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Right?
Like
that was yes, that's a good
comedy
point.
gold.
That was comedy gold.
Malarkey.
Malarkey.
Stop the malarkey.
Stop the madness.
And Danzig's gonna have to tell Pence that he cannot use his song.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
Wait, Danzig's gonna have to tell Pence what?
That he can't use his song.
Oh.
Mother.
Yes.
Sorry.
And isn't that a cover? Isn't that a John Lennon cover too?
Oh, I don't know.
John Lennon did a song called "Mother" that scares the hell out of me.
Well, Bruce Springsteen already, I think, filed like a cease and desist order against Trump for using his music. Was like, don't you dare fucking use my music again.
Right.
What song?
I don't remember. I want to say it was like "Born in the USA" or something. something stereotypical
I feel
like
like
that.
someone else has come after Trump for using a song that was
I think
like,
it was Queen.
oh, maybe it's been a lot of people. I thought it was someone, not someone that huge, but definitely someone big, and definitely someone like left and, you know, kind of a little fiery who wouldn't like take something like that.
Yeah, was it REM?
Hmm.
It might have been.
Yeah, I feel like REM did something, filed a cease and desist at one point. I feel like there were some, well, and then who was it whose music was actually played at his inauguration? It was a big band. I don't remember who it was though, and it wasn't Leonard Skinner. It was,
See, I think
wasn't it "You Can't Always Get What You Want" by Rolling Stones? I think. I want to say.
I feel like the Democrats have the rights at their events to play REMs. It's the end of the
there's
world.
a lot of there's a lot of artists. So, you know, when I was just like, no, not that one, no, not that one, I think it's a different one. Maybe there's a lot. There's 20 artists
that have sued Trump,
who have spoken out against Trump playing their music at his events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Including,
pretty soon he's only going to be able to play Kid Rock.
So Rihanna, Steven Tyler, and Pharrell Williams, all three of which I did not know about, reportedly had their teams issue cease and desist notices to the Trump campaign. Elton John, Adele, and Dee Snider have spoken about not wanting Trump to use their music, which I don't know if that means that he tried, but they don't want it.
Well, you know, Dee Snider, he's not going to take it.
Exactly.
Anymore.
No, he ain't going to take it.
Anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. But that's interesting. Okay, yeah.
Neil Young, Rihanna.
Oh, right. Well, he tried. Donald Trump tried to use Neil Young. That's funny.
Tom Petty.
Right. I thought Tom Petty might have been in there.
I won't
Yes,
back
thank
down.
you.
I won't back down.
Right. Because I won't back down. Exactly. Oh, wow.
Oh, it was the family because he's deceased.
Yep. I know. But yeah, so all those people came out and were like, nope, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Tom Petty, when he was alive, told George W. Bush not to use his music,
Wow.
saying that the song falsely implied he was endorsing Bush.
Wow.
What a tangled web we weave.
Yes. Wow.
And Panic at the Disco told him to stop playing High Hopes.
That doesn't surprise me.
Oh, wow.
Dear Trump campaign, fuck you. You're not invited. Stop playing my song. No thanks. Brendan Urie, Panic at the Disco, and company.
Wow.
And I guess Neil Young was one of the first.
Wow.
Back in 2015. Rockin' in the Free World.
Wow.
Donald Trump was not authorized to use Rockin' in the Free World in his presidential candidacy announcement.
No, I'm just asking why you're getting up. Okay.
Wow. That's, yeah.
And Devil's Sidewalk.
See?
Devil's Sidewalk too?
And the team actually tried to say that they were legally using it, and then he had to file a copyright infringement lawsuit. So that's like just bizarre. Like they're just like doubling down on telling the man I can use your music.
Yeah. That's pretty embarrassing.
This
All right,
is actually you're out of here. Okay, one last good quote from Rihanna when she found out her music was being
Which
played during one
song?
of
Which
his
song
rallies.
was it, by the way? Just out of curiosity, which song was it?
It does not say which songs, but
All
her
right.
response was, "Not for much longer. Nor me nor my people would ever be at or around one of those tragic rallies." So thanks for the heads up, Philip.
Oh, that's funny.
Sheesh.
Wow, that's a good quote. That's that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with me. All right, I'm gonna get off.
Okay. All right.
That's what she
Good
said.
night. Good night, all.
Good night. All right. Well,
Well,
I guess this is it.
yeah, because we have Silent 1 and Silent 2 down here.
Yeah. Hey, Silent 1 and Silent 2. Are you there? Are you there? Caller, are you there? All right.
Well,
I guess we are out then. All
I
right.
guess
Well, thanks for
we're
another
done.
good episode. Until the next episode.
All right. Good night, silent callers.
All right. Good night. Bye.